Of the one and only
footwear and apparel.
The Edmonton Eskimo name has long been synonymous with excellence in the CFL, and 1987 is no exception. This year's Eskimos can hurt you in a variety of ways. The running of Jones, Skinner, Johnstone, and Dunnigan. The receiving of House, Richards, Sincar, Jones, and the great Brian Kelly. The kick returns of the one and only Henry Gizmo Williams, who has electrified fans throughout the CFL with his explosive play this entire season. And the turnovers by the Edmonton defensive unit. Stanley Blair is among Edmonton defenders to have scored a touchdown this season. Coming off a beating last week in Winnipeg, the Eskimos look to get their run at first in the West back on track against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who are fighting to keep their slim playoff hopes alive. The Canadian Football Network. Today's game from Taylor Field in Regina is brought to you by Petro-Canada Dealers and Agents. Our energy is Canada. And by Carling O'Keefe Breweries, the CFL. It's the game around here. Since Ron Lancaster retired after the 1978 season, the Saskatchewan Roughriders have conducted a fruitless search for a quarterback they can count on game after game and year after year. Kent Austin is the latest in a long line of candidates. He was impressive in his debut, a win over Hamilton last week, and he has credentials. Austin broke some of Archie Manning's passing records at Mississippi University. He spent last year with St. Louis of the NFL. The Riders hope he's their man. Austin says he's happy to be in the CFL.
Well, I like the league. You know, it's tailor-made for the quarterback. You throw the ball almost every down up here, which is, if you're a quarterback, you got to love that. You know, the field is bigger, so it makes it a more wide-open game up here than in the NFL. But like I said, I've only been here for a little while, so it's hard to give overall impression.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our CFN telecast from Taylor Field in Regina. Kent Austin hasn't seen the Edmonton Eskimos yet, but the rest of the Saskatchewan Roughriders have 3 times this season, and undoubtedly they haven't liked what they've seen because Edmonton has beaten Saskatchewan 3 times this year and scored 111 points in those 3 games. And those 3 losses have played a big role in the predicament that Saskatchewan currently faces. The Roughriders have to win today, or they'll be eliminated from the Western playoffs for the 11th consecutive year. Edmonton Eskimos, meanwhile, need this game badly if they hope to finish first for the 11th time in the last 16 seasons. Edmonton and Saskatchewan coming up on CFN. Kent Austin and the Saskatchewan offense will face an Edmonton defense that features a strong veteran front led by rush end Stu Hill. Danny Bass, completing his 8th CFL season, remains the steadying force in Edmonton's linebacking core. The Edmonton secondary has been vulnerable this season. A change this week. Benjamin back on the corner. Ron Howard moves inside in place of Cliff Tony. Saskatchewan uses 4 Americans on their defensive line. Lewis plays his 5th game. Madsen his 6th. Billy Jackson, back from knee surgery, replaces Eddie Lowe in Saskatchewan's linebacking setup. Albright leads the CFL in tackles. The Saskatchewan secondary has 26 of the team's 31 interceptions.
As I was preparing for the Eskimo Rider game, someone passed me a coach's resume. The man's 48 years old. He said he'll work indoors or out, doesn't mind wearing shorts to work. He was 3 years in the Marine Corps. He coached high school in Nevada and Washington, which means he likes to move around. In 1974, he coached in Portland, Oregon, the Sunset High School, and he coached them to 2 state championships. After that, he went to Edmonton and was part of that reign in the 5 Grey Cup championships. He's got 1 senior position as a head coach, 56 wins, 23 losses, 1 tie, and in that time period, he has 1 Grey Cup. Geez, it's tough to figure out why Don Matthews doesn't have a job.
Underway at Taylor Field in Regina. Joe Fuller with the game-opening kickoff that brings it back to the 44-yard line of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Jerry Cowrick kicking off into a very strong wind, managed to get it 47 yards downfield. Fuller brought it back 15, and Kent Austin, after that sparkling debut in the CFL in Hamilton last week in a Rough Rider victory, brings the Saskatchewan offense onto the field. It's cool, it is windy at Taylor Field. Sun shining for now anyway, and the Rough Riders have a strong wind with them in this opening quarter. Austin with a toss to Bender. He throws it back to Austin. He drops the ball, picks it up, and starts to run with it, but they'll rule that an incomplete pass by Walter Bender. So some razzle-dazzle from the Rough Riders on the opening play. 6 Celsius and that strong northwest wind behind Saskatchewan in the opening quarter.
Starting with a little bit of razzle-dazzle, we talked before, Bob, what makes this game interesting is number 1, the wind, and number 2, Kent Austin. He looked so good last week.
Everybody anxious to see if he can do it again, if he's for real. 2nd and 10. Austin back to pass over the middle. Elgard has it go right through his hands up near center field. That looked like a very catchable football that Ray Elgard just misplayed.
Well, Joe Farragelli said at the outset he was going to come after Austin. See how he does under pressure. Gregory Fields, very intelligent young man. Hasn't had a lot of experience, but he thinks he can pick things up. He says, let him come after our quarterback.
3rd down and 10, Rough Riders. Terry Baker will kick with this strong wind, which is 30 kilometers an hour and gusting on a 3rd and 10 at the Rider 43. And Baker pounds it toward the sideline. Gizmo Williams won't have a chance to handle it. And they're going to mark it out of bounds up at the 27-yard line of the Edmonton Eskimos. Make no mistake, it is cold here today. That sun gives kind of a deceiving look at what the weather is. But for the players, Neil, it's not a bad day.
No, it isn't a bad day. Once they get going, they come out an hour before the game starts. They get the blood flowing. They get warmed up. You'll see a few of the guys short sleeve shirts. Definitely some of the offensive linemen. Maybe one layer underneath, but not a lot. This won't bother you.
Dunnigan and the Eskimos with the ball for the first time. 1st and 10 at their 27. The handoff inside. And very, very short yardage for Chris Skinner.
Well, the front 4 of the Saskatchewan Roughriders are very aggressive, and Joe Farragelli said that he likes the way they move around, their stunts and their activity, but to take that away, what you can do is run the football. He thinks if you can find a seam in that situation, you can make some good yards. Right there, they just came off the ball and they played it straight.
There's Hector Potier without any protection on his arms. 2nd down and 8 Eskimos, and James Curry jumped Saskatchewan offside unless they were pulled by some Edmonton movement. Ken Lazaruk is the head referee, and he'll get this sorted out.
Offside, Saskatchewan 78, 2nd down repeated.
Now, you played when it was cold without any protection on your arms. Why did you do that? Why do players do that if it's bitterly cold, not like today?
Well, handling a football, you get used to having your bare skin. Sometimes you can spray the tough skin on. You just don't want anything on your arms. You're not used to it. It makes you uncomfortable.
2nd down and 3 Eskimos at their 34 after the penalty against Saskatchewan. And the ball carrier runs right into a host of Rough Riders and will have no gain. Milton Jones with the football. James Curry, who was offside on the previous play, atones for that mistake by making the stop.
Well, Curry didn't jump offside this time, but he certainly found a gap. He went through untouched. Looked like he should have been picked up by Bill Stevenson, but because he came through so early, Stevenson didn't even get a chance to look at him. He disrupts the play and makes the sack, or the tackle.
3rd down and 3 Eskimos at their 33. Jerry Cowrick will punt into a strong wind. Cowrick taking lots of time. Good snap, no rush, and he hits this one straight sideways. It'll go out of bounds at about the 35 or 40 of the Edmonton Eskimos. The Rough Riders will have excellent position. We're just underway at Taylor Field in Regina.
Eskimo kicker Jerry Cowrick had his problems with that punt. There's one thing for sure, when you come to Regina, the flags always look good, don't they?
Well, Saskatchewan benefits by the 10-yard punt by Cowrick. First and 10, Riders, Edmonton 44. 3 minutes into the game at Taylor Field. Kent Austin rolling and throwing, and it's caught down at the 31-yard line. A diving catch by Don Narcisse.
One of the things that had to make it easier on Kent Austin when he came into campus being with Don Narcisse again. They were together in St. Louis, so there has to be some form of communication and working together. But this is just an outstanding catch, laying out on the turf.
Great coverage by the Eskimo defensive back. Narcisse makes quite an effort to give the Riders a first and 10 at the Edmonton 31-yard line. Austin, the toss to Bender, left side. He won't throw it this time. He'll carry it down to about the 27-yard line of the Edmonton Eskimos. Saskatchewan's running attack has not been very good this season. John Gregory would like to see some improvement there and feels they have to be able to run some today, although they intend to throw a lot with Austin.
Well, they certainly do, and they have had some success with the running game. When Tim McRae was healthy, he had a few pretty good games, and Bender's had some good games too.
Second down and 6, Riders at the Edmonton 27. Kent Austin with time throws complete down at the 15-yard line. Narcisse again on the receiving end, and he is a wide receiver. This is his 5th game with the Roughriders. He's a receiver that they are very high on. They've been looking to improve that position for the last 2 or 3 years, and they think they may have the real thing right here.
Well, that explosion right there, it looks like he's going to go deep downfield. He makes a very quick stop, pivot around, and catches the football. That's tough on the defensive back when you've got a guy with that kind of speed.
Riders at the 15, Bender carrying, and he will get a yard or two. Danny Bass among the Edmonton tacklers. Larry Ruck was the first to make contact with Walter Bender, who had rushed for 366 yards on 107 carries. Coming into this game at just over a 3-yard average, about a 3.5-yard average. Danny Bass, 29 years of age, in his 8th CFL season, his 4th with Edmonton. Roughriders, second down, and between 8 and 9 yards to go at the Edmonton 13.5-yard line. Austin to Elgard at the 10, gets down to the 8, and that will leave the Riders 3 yards short of a first down. What do you do, Neil? Take the sure 3 or gamble for more?
Well, I'll take a page out of Larry Kuharic's book in Calgary and go for it. I think John Gregory might take the sure thing, but they've moved the ball well. Elgard inside. I just find it hard to believe you can't get 1 or 2 yards. And this might be the perfect time to go for it. But
on the other hand, you hate to give points away, and if you're stopped,
well, remember, if they give the ball back here, they don't get the first down. They'd have to kick the ball away if their defense played well. So
that's right. Ridgway is in to attempt a 15-yarder, and if he makes it, which he did, it will be his 19th consecutive field goal. So Ridgway's on a streak, and the Roughriders have gone in front. 9:16 left in the first quarter.
The sun is gone. It's getting a little bit chilly. There were some snow flurries earlier on this afternoon, and it looks like they may come back.
Well, a strong wind is blowing some weather into Taylor Field. As the Eskimos are first down and 10. Dunnigan finally gets it off, and it's intercepted. Rod Fisher, there's a flag on the play. Back up at center field, Rod Fisher with the interception. Before we went away, Saskatchewan was called for no yards on the punt return by Henry Williams. Here's Ken Lazarick.
Holding. Edmonton.
Eskimos called for holding. The interception by Fisher will stand.
This will be Fisher's second interception this year, but you watch Matt Dunnigan. It looks like he sees 2 or 3 receivers, but he just doesn't want to throw the football. He keeps pulling it back down. Finally, he gets an opportunity, but the ball is tipped. It doesn't get to Stefan Jones cleanly, and Steve Crane got his hands on it. Fisher gets his second of the year.
Saskatchewan leading 4-0 with a first and 10 at the Edmonton 37. Second interception of the game for the Roughriders. Walter Bender has room, and he'll be close to a first down. Stu Hill brings him down from behind, but that left side came wide open for Walter Bender.
Yeah, it's funny in situations when you run a draw, the one side of the line can be completely blocked up. The left side just opens up like a big gate. Stuart Hill really untouched, contained, conscious, and then just chases him down. That's good speed by Stuart Hill.
Good hustle, good effort by Hill. 16 sacks on the season coming into this football game. They're measuring for the first down. The Roughriders very close to it. 7:55 the time left in the second quarter. And Saskatchewan has been very impressive in the game up to this point. On defense, obviously, they've shut Edmonton out, but I think the key for them, Neil, is their offense has held on to the ball for a while, and that's been a problem that's plagued them all season long.
Well, anytime your offense can hold on to the football, you take away the effectiveness of the other team's offense. They get cold. They don't get into a system or a routine.
Second and inches, Austin keeps, and looks like he has the Rough Rider first down.
Bob, you brought up before the game that the Eskimos have given up an awful lot of yardage this year. You said it was 6th or 7th in the league, but they haven't given up that many points. The bend and don't break theory that we talked to Joe Farragilly about, he doesn't like that.
No, actually, they've given up 361 yards per game, which is 4th in the CFL. Neil, I gave you the wrong figure, but only 25 points a game, which is third lowest total in the Canadian Football League. But you're right, Farragilly wants a more dominant, overpowering defense. Who doesn't? First and 10 Riders at the Edmonton 25. Austin over the middle has a man open down at the 16-yard line. That's Tony Dennis. And he is close to a Saskatchewan first down.
Austin has gone to this area of the field before today, once with Ray Elgard down near the goal line on the other end. This time Tony Dennis comes off the ball late. Don Wilson has to come from the halfback spot, come across the field and cover him. They're in man coverage. Tough to cover that kind of pattern when he can just come off and come underneath. It's tough for Wilson to get between him and the quarterback.
Don Wilson bruised his knee in the first quarter, but came back in the next series. Austin on first down, throws in the end zone, no good. Intended for Ray McDonald, but it was beyond his reach. You know, John Gregory was telling us about Kent Austin, Neil. He said, in practice, the thing that impresses him most about the guys is throwing accuracy and the fact that whatever play they're running, he completes the ball 9 times out of 10, and we've seen evidence of it this afternoon.
Well, anytime you can have good practice habits, you can carry them over to the football game. Coaches love that.
Second and 10, Rough Riders at the Edmonton 16-yard line. Cochran the lone setback, Austin to pass, puts it in the end zone, and it's knocked away. Intended for Bender, there's a flag on the play. Interference will be called against Larry Ruck, I believe, and that'll give Saskatchewan the ball in the Edmonton 1-yard line.
Larry Ruck not pleased.
Forward pass interference. Edmonton 47. First down, Saskatchewan.
The Eskimo defense in a man, some form of man coverage, because Larry Ruck is running step for step with Walter Bender, and to me it looks like he's got a pretty good job of coverage. But maybe that one turn and jump just as the ball was coming in is what the referee saw.
One thing is for sure, Larry Ruck didn't like the call. He argued vociferously, but as usual to no avail. And the Rough Riders are first and goal, and they have a touchdown with Bender. There is a penalty flag.
Penalty marker throw.
Offside. Edmonton line. Decline.
Touchdown stand.
Touchdown.
Riders lead 10-0.
Well, I'll tell you, coaches just hate that. The interference call in the end zone, automatically you move it right to the 1-yard line. A good offensive team with a good running back is going to get it in 3 chances. The Riders do it in 1.
Dave Ridgway will attempt to add the convert. And does. And a 6-play, 37-yard drive. Saskatchewan, an 11-0 lead with 5:51 left in the first half.
Next week.
Walter Bender's 5th touchdown of the season on a 1-yard plunge. And a Dave Ridgway
I want to say hello to Howard Fields.
convert
Howard Fields, my man. Broke and all the fellas.
has given Saskatchewan an 11-0 lead. The kickoff fumbled by Thincar and recovered by the Eskimos at their 38-yard line. A very close call. Edmonton has already turned the ball over twice in this game, and they nearly made it 3 there.
Boy, a strange bounce from Marco Thincar to try to pull in. Bounces over his head and Stephan Jones, and that types of play will give all coaches, offense, defense, or head coaches, gray hair.
5:40 left in the first half. Matt Dunnigan and the Eskimos start from their 38.5. Dunnigan puts it down long for Brian Kelly, intercepted at the 35-yard line. Glenn Suter with his second of the game. That is the third interception of the day for the Roughriders.
Glenn Suter, a native of Sydney, British Columbia, gets his 7th interception. That's what Dunnigan has to look at. He's looking downfield. He releases the ball to Brian Kelly, but it looks like the ball, either because of the wind, got pushed to the inside, right where Suter was coming over to help out.
3 interceptions on the day for the Riders, 34 on the season now, one short of tying the club record for interceptions in a season. Walter Bender carries on first down and has room. Bender fumbles the ball, but it goes out of bounds at the 50 of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So the Riders will have a 15-yard gain out of that. You know, we've seen so many things go wrong for Saskatchewan this season, Neil. Everything is working for them today.
Well, watch Danny Bass. Danny Bass is moving across. He's got a beat on Bender, but he gets tripped up by one of his own players. That opens that seam up, and now you see a bunch of guys going, get out of bounds.
Well, the Riders have often cursed their luck this season. Danny Bass overlooks the Saskatchewan offense. They can't complain this afternoon. They've played very well, and they've gotten the bounces. Austin screams on first down to Elgard. Big Ray Elgard steps away from Danny Bass and gets across center field into the Edmonton 52 or 53-yard line. He'll be close to another Rough Rider first down.
Good job by Austin trying to pull in the defense to set up that screen. He's got to get as much pressure on him as quickly as he can. A quick fake to Bender, just turn to the right and dump it over. Both Bass and Wilson play it well. Just a little stutter step by Elgard makes Bass go underneath.
Well, it's second down and a yard. Rough Riders at the Edmonton 53-yard line. Austin hands off Conrad, and he's caught in the backfield. Beats a couple of tacklers, and I think got back to the original line of scrimmage, but still short of a first down. As Zachary came through to lead the Edmonton defensive charge.
Zachary and John Mandrich were able to slant through the gap along the offensive line and get the Bender before he could get his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage and it going upfield.
3rd and 1, Rough Riders will go for it going into the strong wind. Not as big a gamble as it would otherwise be, given the wind factor. But it could be a key play for Edmonton if they can stop Saskatchewan here. The handoff, and I don't think they got it. Walter Bender with the football, and he didn't appear to get anywhere close to it.
Bender with the ball.
Now that same type of surge from the last play carried over to this one. Manders coming through, Danny Bass just picking, maybe even getting a little bit lucky, but it's that nose to the football that he has. He comes in there. Larry Ruck, Ron Howard.
Well, when you stop a team on 2nd and 1 and then 3rd and 1, that's pretty good defense.
Well, I thought that in the 2nd and 1 situation, they should have just snuck the football.
So the Eskimos take over at their 53-yard line. We'll see if this gives them a little momentum. Dunnigan throws, and it's dropped. Marco Sincar had it hit him right in the stomach and pop out.
Well, there's nothing Matt Dunnigan can do about that. He can just get the ball to the receivers. They have to be able to hang on. The cold weather is bringing out some of the gloves for some of the receivers. Marco Sincar doesn't usually wear gloves, but when the weather turns cooler, you wear those sticky gloves that's sticky on the inside as Laurie Skelrud gets that left elbow attended to.
2nd and 10, Eskimos at their 53-yard line. Dunnigan with time, throws, completes it down at the 48-yard line to Marco Sincar, who's been his favorite target this afternoon. Sincar stopped a yard and a half, maybe, short of an Edmonton first down.
Well, that's the same type of pattern that the Riders have had some success on. An inside receiver dragging across the middle.
2 left in the first half at Taylor Field in Regina. It's been all Saskatchewan. Their first-year head coach. But in the first 30 minutes of this game with Edmonton this afternoon, they've had just about everything go their way, leading the Eskimos by 10 points. I think the one point I would make very quickly as we look at Joe Ferragelli at the Edmonton bench is, Neil, that the Eskimos have the most potent offense in the CFL in terms of yards gained and points scored. So we shouldn't be premature in drawing any conclusions at this stage here.
Not at all. They're only behind 10 points, and she said this is maybe one of the most prolific offenses to come along in a number of years. They can strike. They don't have to hold on to the ball and drive the football. With the people they have on offense, be it running back or receiver, they can strike and strike quickly.
Averaging 34 points and 413 yards in offense per game, the Eskimo offense. Jerry Cowrick will kick off into the wind to start the second half. Joe Fuller with it. And he's up to the 45 to 46-yard line of Saskatchewan. So the Roughriders will enjoy the wind advantage. It was blowing at 30 kilometers per hour when the game began, and just looking at the flags, appears to be every bit as strong. A 45-yard kickoff and a 16-yard return.
A lot of people might ask, where was Kent Austin when the Riders started their season? They tried, actually, to get Kent Austin at the beginning of the 1986 season, decided to go to St. Louis after he was released by St. Louis. Dan Rambo, player personnel for the Riders here, jumped on him, said, we got to get you to Regina, and so they did.
12th-round draft pick to St. Louis, Kent Austin, as the Eskimos have a player hurt on that kickoff to open the second half. Didn't play last year in St. Louis. Junior Robinson, the injured Eskimo. Austin didn't play for the Cardinals behind Lomax and Foote Stout. Back in their camp this year and winding up here in Saskatchewan. And again, it's too early to draw any conclusions about Austin, but in a game and a half, he has made nothing but a very positive impression.
Well, Junior Robinson's the man trying to shake off the injury. He's the one that lashes in there and makes the hit low. It almost looked like when they were Ken Lowe right there, the athletic therapist was making squeeze his hand. Often means that the shoulder, a little bit of a burner, try to get the feeling back and make sure the strength is still in that arm.
Riders with the win. First and 10 at their 45. Austin throws, and this one's picked off by Don Wilson. He may score. He will. Don Wilson takes it into the end zone, and oh so quickly. The momentum that Saskatchewan had worked an entire first half to build is gone.
Well, there you go. We said it can happen fast, and it happened even more quickly than that. Wilson, they're in a zone defense. He just makes the jump from his zone position underneath the pass that's thrown to Terry Cochran, takes it in the end zone.
Fifth interception of the season for Don Wilson. He returned that one 53 yards for a touchdown. Eskimos' first touchdown of the day. It's now 11-7 Saskatchewan, and a Jerry Cowrick convert will reduce the Rough Rider lead to 3 points. And Cowrick puts it through. So the Edmonton Eskimos, not that they were out of the game trailing 11-1, have really got themselves back in a good position. And now we'll find out a little bit more about Kent Austin and the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Well, I was going to say exactly the same thing. We're going to see if an interception will make him a little bit more passive trying to get the ball downfield. A lot of great quarterbacks you talk to. Tom Clements is one. He throws an interception. He walks off his way. You know, I'm going to throw some interceptions when I'm playing quarterback in my career, but I'm going to throw more touchdown passes. And I think that's the attitude you have to take. We'll see if Austin has that attitude.
That was only the 21st interception of the season by the Edmonton Eskimos. That's the second lowest total in the Canadian Football League. John Gregory, the Saskatchewan coach, can only imagine the things that would go through his mind at a time like this when he sees so many things go wrong for his team this season. No doubt wondering if this is deja vu. We'll see. Cowrick kicking off. And the ball is caught by the Eskimos at the Saskatchewan 48-yard line and touched before it went out of bounds. They ruled that it's Edmonton football. Tom Richards caught the football. And it's going to be Eskimo ball.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt by the way Cowrick kicked that football. He was kicking to the sideline. Not exactly a short kick, but it's dropped into an area. Richards has great speed, comes right down the sideline, touches the ball.
Ken Lazarick, the head referee, having quite a discussion. He's talking with James Curry of Saskatchewan now. And I don't think Edmonton's going to get the ball.
Ball kicked out of bounds. First down, Saskatchewan.
Well, what makes that a tough call is, number one, it was in front of the Eskimo bench, and some very keen observers there, but they say that Richard's foot was out of bounds, and he was out of bounds when he touched the football.
I guess they're ruling that he
Look at the right
out of
foot.
bounds.
Saskatchewan, the 48-yard line.
It's very close.
Well, I think he touched the ball when his right foot was still in bounds. No question about that. Walter Bender on a first down carry from the Saskatchewan 48-yard line has a gain of 2 or 3. Brian Warren of the Edmonton defense fired up. Well, the Eskimos lost what they felt should have been their football, Neil, but oftentimes having something like that go against you can really get a team pumped up.
Well, it gets you upset. I mean, they think it should be their football, and I think their defense will react. Watching Brian Warren hop around, he's ready to go.
2nd and 8. Riders at their 50. They lead 11-8. We're just underway in the second half. Kent Austin throws. Elgard has it at the 51 of Edmonton. He's brought down by Ronnie Howard, but he looks like he has the Saskatchewan first down. Yes, he does. Ray Elgard attempting to pass the 1,000-yard mark in receiving for the 3rd straight year. Left to go some, had 618 yards coming into this game.
Again, that middle opens up. Elgard's a big target. Wilson's on coverage, and he does a good job of bringing him down, but when that play's executed, it's tough to stop.
Saskatchewan at the Edmonton 51 with the 1st and 10. The toss to Bender left side, and he's down to the 45 of the Eskimos for a gain of 6.
Well, they'd like to get the ball in the end zone, and they know they have to have a good mix of run and pass to take some of the pressure off Austin. Going wide, a lot of people haven't been successful. You figure this defense last week of the Eskimos shut down maybe the best running back in the CFL, Willard Reeves, with something like 39 yards. So, you know, they're tough to run on.
Kent Austin holding his fingers behind his back to signal the snap count, as so many quarterbacks seem to do now. 2nd down and about 3.5. Austin won't get it off. Sacked by Tuine back at center field.
Well, the man a lot of the players call Mr. Consistent because he plays the backside. Stuart Hill is the designated rush man. Tuine comes in the stunt. You see him inside. Instead of going wide, puts pressure on Laurie Skullroot. Skullroot can't step down and close off the area. Tom Tuine gets himself a sack, and that'll be his 5th for 87.
Tuine from the University of Hawaii, 6th year with the Eskimos. 3rd down and 14. Roughriders at center field. Baker kicking with the wind. And Henry Williams is going to let it go into the end zone and concede the single point, giving Edmonton better field position than they probably would have had he fielded the football. Damon Allen takes over at quarterback for Edmonton. The Eskimos with the football for the first time in the second half. Terry Baker just kicked a 79-yard single for Saskatchewan to put them up by 4. First down toss, and Lynn Madsen runs down. Gary Lewis, runs down the ball carrier, Chris Skinner, for a loss of 3 yards.
Boy, you have to be impressed with the hustle. You've seen it all year, but here again, breakthrough, finds himself a seam in that offensive line, and now chases down a running back.
Gary Lewis playing his 4th game back with Saskatchewan. He rejoined the Riders about a month ago after being cut by the New York Jets with Saskatchewan last year and played out his option. 2nd down and 13. Eskimos at their 32. Damon Allen throws over the middle for Sinkar, and he makes an outstanding catch up at the 53 to give Edmonton a first down.
Holding. Edmonton 66.
But a holding penalty will wipe it out.
Trevor Bowles caught. It's too bad because it brings back a nice play. Great execution by both Damon Allen and Marco Sinkar. Allen leads his receiver. Sprints right, looks right, and then snaps back left. Sees Sinkar going up the seam. Suter thinks he's got an interception, but just throws to the area as Marco Sinkar comes into it.
Sinkar has had a good day for Edmonton. Trevor Bowles takes a Sinkar reception away and a very significant gain. Eskimos are way back at their 22-yard line. 2nd down and a long way to go. 23 yards to go. And they'll give it on a draw play to Chris Skinner. And he'll gain a yard or 2, and that'll be all.
So the Saskatchewan Roughriders seem to be able to get off the blocks of the offensive line. James Curry reacting to what he sees in the backfield,
stays in front of his offensive lineman and then releases. And they've done that well today, both in the pass rush, disengaged from the offensive lineman. They can keep that distance. Now they have room to move, and that's what they've been able to do today.
That was Chris Johnstone with the football and not Skinner. A gain of a yard. Eskimos are 3rd down and 22 at their 23. 4.5 minutes into the third quarter. Saskatchewan leading 12-8. Cowrick will punt into the wind, or won't he? Or will he, rather? No, he's going to concede a safety touch. Cowrick, chased by Billy Jackson, back in the end zone, and finally runs out of bounds. Throws the ball at one of the Roughriders, who forced him out of the end zone. And he's probably fortunate he didn't get an objectionable conduct penalty. Dan Rashovitz, the man who chased Cowrick out of the end zone.
Well, you hate doing that. You hate chasing a guy around that you know you're never going to get a chance to hit. You finally get him out of bounds. He swings around, throws the ball at you, and you expect, well, you might get a flag thrown, but no such luck.
Our next game in the Canadian Football Network will be next Sunday, and a big one it is. The BC Lions at the Calgary Stampeders, 4 Eastern time. Those two teams battle for first, second, and third in the West, along with these Edmonton Eskimos. Edmonton Eskimos' next game is against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. That's in Edmonton next Sunday, and it starts at 12 noon, Edmonton time, 12 noon. The Bombers with the Eskimos. So the safety touch gives Saskatchewan another 2 points. They lead Edmonton 14-8. And the Roughriders have asked the Eskimos to pick the football off.
As we look, there's a little bit of snow. That's not confetti. I believe it's snow.
Line drive kickoff. Cochran with it. And he's to the Edmonton 51-yard line.
Boy, that was a line drive to Cochran. I expect him to pick it out and make the throw to first. It reminded me of a play a shortstop might make. I'm surprised he didn't go to the short or the sort of the looping kick that they tried to get to Richards the last time, because it would have been the same field position.
Well, Saskatchewan has excellent field position. They have the wind. They have 10 minutes left in this third quarter to work that wind, and they lead by 6. Kent Austin wants to throw and does, has a man wide open at the 45-yard line. And Narcisse, the receiver, and he'll have a gain of 5 on the play.
Benjamin playing on Narcisse, giving him about 7 yards off the line of scrimmage. Narcisse is able to go downfield. Benjamin giving ground as he goes. They'll take advantage of those little patterns, but I wouldn't be surprised to see both Benjamin and Stanley Blair, the other corner, really start to snug up on the receivers, be more aggressive.
2nd down and 5, or closer to 4. Austin swings it out to Cochran, but he is stopped right at the 45-yard line for little or no gain. Larry Ruck makes the defensive play for Edmonton.
Larry Ruck, a native of Saskatoon, plays it perfectly. They're in a man situation. He knows it's a screen. He lays off and then moves in, avoids the block by Mike Anderson, makes the play. Another good linebacker out of the Eskimo organization. They've had some great ones. Towns, Potter, they always seem to come up with a good Canadian linebacker.
And Ruck's had a terrific year. Ridgway will attempt a 52-yard field goal, his streak at 19 in a row. It's down. Ridgway has it up, but it's wide left. No penalty flags. Henry Williams brings the ball out and runs out of... Oh, he's still going. Or did he step out of bounds? Williams brought down at the 35. They rule he was inbounds all the way. So Ridgway's streak is over, and the Eskimos have the ball out at their 35-yard line. 8 minutes, 51 seconds left in the third quarter at Taylor Field in Regina. The Edmonton Eskimos, after the Henry Williams return on a missed Dave Ridgway field goal, 1st and 10 at their own 36-yard line. Damon Allen in at quarterback. He took over from Matt Dunnigan to start the second half. Throws to Sincar, complete, and he's to the 50, to center field, to the Saskatchewan 54-yard line. With us now via telephone from Vancouver is the new head coach of the BC Lions, Larry Donovan, following the stunning dismissal of Don Matthews as head coach of the Lions earlier this week. Larry, I say we were stunned. Were you stunned too?
Everybody was. There's no doubt about it. You can be in this football thing for a long time, and nothing would seem to surprise you, but there always seems to be another surprise.
How do you feel taking over under circumstances like this?
Well, Don was a friend of mine and all the coaches here, and our thoughts are with him, of course, but our job now is to make sure that we do the job that we're designated to get done here.
Larry, speaking of the job on the sidelines has changed for you now. Being the head coach, the responsibilities are greater. How did you find it on the sidelines?
Well, the sideline's always an exciting place to be, no matter what category you're in, as long as you've got a job to do. So the thing that was different for me is the fact that someone would come up and ask me a question or two that perhaps previous I would not be involved in.
Larry, you got the big win over Hamilton last night to get back on track, and a big one in Calgary next week.
A very big game. There are no games right now in the whole conference or the whole situation that aren't big games. So we know what we have to do. We had a very tough game last night. It was a very, very physical game. So we're taking a little bit of rest today and get ready to go tomorrow.
It's good to have Roy DeWalt's toe back and healthy.
I don't know if you got a chance to see him at all, but boy, did he do some great things last night. And I asked Adam if that wasn't one of the better games at times that he was playing. He said he plays awful good all the time, Coach.
Larry, player reaction to Matthews' dismissal was very negative. I assume they put that behind them, though, have they?
Well, it seems as long as we coaches stay in the game, we understand that the players seem to rebound much quicker than the coaches do in all situations.
Larry, thanks for joining us. We wish you well the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
Well, Larry Donovan, the new head coach of the BC Lions. And while we were talking with Larry, the Saskatchewan defense was coming up big and stopping Damon Allen and the Edmonton offense and forcing the Eskimos into a punting situation. Cowrick once again will have to battle that strong wind. 3rd down and 15. Eskimos at their 51. Saskatchewan leading 14-8. 7 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. And Cowrick hits another one off the side of his foot. Goes out of bounds. He had a 10-yarder early in the game. And this one won't be much more than that. And the Riders will have good field position again. And that gentleman right there, I think, tells you what kind of a day it is here in Regina.
Against the wind. It's been tough sledding for Jerry Cowrick. Not only is the ball effective when it gets in the air, but just a simple drop on the foot can be effective.
Ken Austin dumps it off to Terry Cochran over the middle. He has a gain of 11 or 12 yards and a Saskatchewan Roughrider first down.
Cochran in the place of David Conrad, who has a hyper-extended elbow. Not quite the same size as Conrad, but very effective out of the backfield. Is a good receiver and works into the offense nicely. Both Conrad and Cochran have done a good job at fullback for them this year.
Denny Ferdinand could be back in Saskatchewan's lineup in a week. He's been out all year with a knee injury. Cochran unable to reach back and catch that first down pass. It'll be 2nd and 10 for the Roughriders and Kent Austin.
If you look at Kent Austin, his father was quite a football player. Back in 1958, he was an All-American at Rutgers and was, I guess, 6th in the balloting for the Heisman Trophy in that same year, 1958. So he comes from a line of good football players.
Austin, in addition to his abilities, was an academic All-Southeastern Conference for 4 straight years. So he's bright as well. And he throws to Elgard over the middle, and he can't get away. Or he likely would have picked up a first down. Junior Robinson stopped Elgard for a gain of 5 down to the 40-yard line of the Eskimos.
I think the Eskimos feel very fortunate to have Junior Robinson at that safety spot. They started the season with Jeff Volpe, and he had a serious neck injury. Laurent Delory hasn't rebounded from that knee injury, and Junior Robinson, a big hitter, plays the pass well, has come through for Don Southern in that defensive unit this year.
3rd and 6 Riders, Edmonton 41. Glenn Suter will hold for Dave Ridgway. It'll be a 48-yard field goal attempt with the wind. The ball is down. Ridgway has lots of distance, and he has the accuracy. So after a miss, Ridgway gets back on track, and the Roughriders go up by 17-8. This young man a few seconds ago had a broad smile on his face. I guess He must have known he was coming on the air, and he's taking it all very seriously. But the Rough Rider fans have had a lot to smile about at Taylor Field this afternoon as their team leads Edmonton. Eskimo first down. Damon Allen throws long for Brian Kelly, and he has it. His first catch of the football game down at the Saskatchewan 30-yard line.
Well, I don't know if you can be successful on offense and wait to the middle of the third quarter to get the ball to Brian Kelly and Stefan Jones. I think you have to take advantage early, and here's Damon Allen, that little pump fake, trying to freeze the defensive back, Harry Skipper, and does so. Kelly elusively gets to the outside and makes the catch while keeping his feet in bounds.
Brian Kelly broke Tom Scott's record in Winnipeg last week for pass receiving yardage in a career, and he adds to it there. Damon Allen's first down pass, nowhere near an intended receiver. Actually, Matt Dunnigan threw to Kelly a couple of times in the first half, but was picked off.
Larry Ruck with some assistance as far as support goes. Tape on that right hand, possibly a jam thumb. I think you'd have to tear it off before you get him out of the game, though.
The thumb, you mean?
Yes, not the tape.
Yeah, tear the thumb off. Okay. Second and 10. Eskimos there at the Saskatchewan 30-yard line. Damon Allen, same play. This time he completes it, a quick pass anyway. And it's very close to a first down. Rick House with the football. Had to get to the Rider 20. And they're going to mark him at the 21, so he'll come up just a wee bit short of the first down.
Reading quickly, Crane from the outside blitzes. That takes away the inside coverage right there. There's nothing in the way of House, so House does a quick look in, gets inside of Rod Fisher. Damon Allen makes the read to reception.
4 minutes, 11 seconds left, third quarter. Saskatchewan leading 17-8. Third down and about 3/4 of a yard to go. Eskimos at the Rider 20.5. Damon Allen keeps the football, and he has the first down, getting to the Rough Rider 19-yard line.
They peeled Damon Allen off the pile. A simple quarterback sneak, but we're seeing the Eskimos that most people expected to see earlier on in the game. Some diversity in their offense. Confidence moving the football.
Dunnigan probably had the worst first half he's had in his CFL career with 5 interceptions in the first half this afternoon. Damon Allen took over to start the second half, and he has the Eskimos down the 19-yard line. He fakes, and he'll run with it. And he'll get some pretty good yardage, forced out of bounds, and there's a flag, possibly for a face mask against Lynn Madsen.
Face mask, Saskatchewan number 76, first down Edmonton. When you have a quarterback can run like that, a simple fake to Milton Jones makes Matson step down right there. Now he's got to get back out of that and try to run him down. Does a pretty good job of keeping up to him, but that one grab there, got to grab the shoulder pads, not the mask.
And the penalty moves the football to the 4-yard line of Saskatchewan. Eskimos first and goal. Stu Hill is into the game to provide some blocking strength. Jones, Skinner, and Johnstone all setbacks.
They might even throw him the ball.
Handoff left side, Nelson Jones. And he gets down to the 1-yard line of the Rough Riders, a gain of 2 or 3.
Well, they have the short yardage offense in there. Brian Kelly and Stefan Jones, the 2 wide receivers, come out. And they bring in Stu Hill, Dan Kern, John Mandritz. That means Marco Sinkar, the slot back, is also out. And I've seen them throw passes to those big guys once in a while.
Second and goal, Eskimos. Saskatchewan 1-yard line. Handoff Milton Jones, and he walks into the end zone. There is a flag on the play. There is a penalty flag, so hang on.
Offside, Saskatchewan defense declined. Touchdown Edmonton.
Milton Jones draws the Eskimos within 3 points of Saskatchewan. It's now 17-14. Milton Jones with his 5th touchdown of the season.
In no time at all, the Eskimos bounce back. That power formation. Those three Canadian running backs led by Chris Skinner. Skinner seals that corner. Milton Jones just pops outside.
And Leo Blanchard on the right side took his man right into the end zone. Jerry Cowrick will attempt to convert. He makes it, and it's a 17-15 game. Saskatchewan in front with 2:14 left in the third quarter. And with the Riders holding on to a 2-point lead, let's pause 10 seconds for stations from coast to coast to identify themselves. You're watching the Canadian Football Network. .12:46 the time of that score. Milton Jones walking into the end zone. Eskimos within 2 of the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Well, it's time for the Rider offense to silence and slow down this momentum that the Eskimos have been able to build up. Austin is going to have to take this offense, move them down, and get some points, because if the wind has been a factor and is a factor, the Eskimos just scored 7 against it. So
now the difference in the game is the safety touch that Edmonton conceded earlier in this quarter, but that turned out to be a wise move because they kicked the ball off, and then Ridgway missed a field goal. Gizmo ran it out to the 36, and the Eskimos came out of that one just fine, just the way they'd hoped. Joe Fuller returning this kickoff by Cowrick back to the 41-yard line of Saskatchewan. And I would say, Neil, wouldn't you, that the wind has maybe gone down a little bit?
Bob, it has seemed to drop a bit. I think it's still a little gusty, though. It comes up and down, which I think will affect the punts and the kicking game more than it will the passing game right now.
Cowrick seemed to get that one downfield with more ease than some of the earlier ones. I make that comment. This flag certainly doesn't verify what I just suggested. It's still blowing pretty good here at Taylor Field. Kent Austin to Cochran on a first down pass. And Cochran will have 5 or 6 yards up to the Rough Rider 47.
Austin picking the running backs out. Linebackers of the Eskimos dropping back, but not too deeply. They focus in very quickly with Danny Bass.
Austin throws, and it's complete. Ray McDonald at the 54 of the Eskimos. Simple 10-yard out pattern, and Austin put it right on the money. Austin's not throwing the ball downfield as much in this half as he did in the first half, is he?
He seems to be a little bit more conservative. Right here, it's he gets the ball low to the outside. That takes away any chance of interception. Good coverage by Stanley Blair. They're not giving those receivers much room on the outside.
First and 10 Riders, Edmonton 54, a minute 20 left, third quarter. Austin, pressure, and he's sacked back at the 47-yard line. 2 in A, and Kearns, the first man in there to make the sack on Kent Austin.
Tom Tooney to the short side of the field. Again, responsible for contain, makes a nice little move underneath when he realizes he has support to the outside.
Second down and 17. Austin throws this one long for McDonald. He's got it at the Edmonton 21.5-yard line.
And no sooner do we say Austin hasn't gone downfield, he must be listening to us. Nicely thrown ball. The receiver, McDonald, to the outside. Blair is trying to back up in as he watches the football. He's got great view of the football. It's just nicely dropped over his shoulder, and a good catch.
Perfect throw by Austin and a good catch by Ray McDonald. It's still 6 degrees Celsius, and the wind has increased in velocity a bit since the start of the game, so I'll put my weather forecasting career on hold. Austin dumps it off. Bender's all alone, makes a nice move, and he'll score.
Boy, tremendous touch on the football. Austin realizing Bender is not covered coming out of the backfield. He just half-arms it right here, almost like it's designed. The linebacker hit blitz, he releases. Now you want to see a move. Whoop! Just puts a great little stop and go on Steve Benjamin and races to the corner.
Second touchdown of the game for Walter Bender. Ridgway adds the convert to it, and with 32 seconds left in the third quarter, the Rough Riders have regained their 9-point lead. It's now Saskatchewan 24, and Edmonton's 15. 69 yards that drive covered in 4 plays.
With a big play to Ray McDonald after they seemed to be picking their way down the field, and you said hadn't opened up the offense in the last few series. Just airs that arm out. And Walter Bender finished off the drive.
Impressive work by Austin. Now, Edmonton is pulled within 2 points, and Austin just goes out there and takes the Riders right down the field and again regains the momentum that they had lost. I think that's an impressive aspect of what he's done today.
Yes, the cool that he's shown, and you really have to wonder coming into this game how much of the offense he really had down 100%. Where he feels confident in going out knowing what everyone in the field is doing, because that's what the quarterback has to know. Every player on the field, as far as offense, he has to know their responsibility, from the offensive line blocking to all the receivers. And I guess it just shows that he is the intelligent man that John Gregory says he is. He's absorbed everything they've thrown at him.
Well, he missed half of his senior year at Ole Miss, but still finished with more than 6,000 yards in career passing yardage. Gizmo with the kickoff, and he'll only get to the 30-yard line. Rasevich made the stop. A 65-yard kickoff and a 20-yard return.
Rasevich comes into the game changing numbers. He used to wear number 49, a backup linebacker from Simon Fraser. The enthusiasm just rolls over to some special teams. A big play.
How it feels? That was to you, boy. All right. See you next week, Toronto.
Well, Walter Bender is serious about getting a hello through to Howard Field. I trust he's accomplished that by now. Eskimos, 1st and 10 from their 30. Allen finds Rick House. Gain of 7 up to the 37. 4 seconds left in the third quarter. And the clock stops with 1 second left.
House at the top of the screen. Let the running back pass. Then he comes underneath. He's wide open. Good pursuit. Jackson has to respect what Chris Skinner is doing, but when he sees the ball thrown, he reacts up to Rick House.
Barring a penalty, this will be the final play of the third quarter, and then the Eskimos will have the win. Second down and 3. Damon Allen back to pass. Lots of time. Gets it away to Kelly. Drops it. They rule no catch. Incomplete pass. And Edmonton will be in a punting situation when the begins. Saskatchewan up by 9 at Taylor Field in Regina.
Brian Kelly with a bit of delay comes off. Again, waits for Rick House to go in front. Catches the football, but Billy Jackson trying to get across the cover. Can't make the hit, but gets his hand in. Knocks the ball out of Kelly's hand.
That play ended the third quarter. The fourth quarter will open with Edmonton 3rd down and 3 at the Eskimo 37, and Jerry Cowrick to punt. Edmonton with the wind. That's 30 kilometers an hour in gusting. And trailing by 9 points. Cowrick, good kick. Fuller at the 23. Back to the 20 of Saskatchewan. And he won't get back to the 20 as he backpedaled to the 17 or 18. They'll mark him at the 19-yard line.
Well, you have to wonder emotionally how the roller coaster goes for the Eskimos. Last week in the second half, they didn't seem to have the same type of bite and kick that they did in the first half. Again, starting this week, Joe Faragelli's got to wonder, are we mentally ready to play some football?
Well, it's a crucial game for the Eskimos. They're 9-5, BC 9-6, Calgary 8-7. Edmonton can really take control of that first place race if they win this game. Austin throwing on first down. No good behind the intended receiver, Ray McDonald.
We spoke earlier, Bob, about how long a season it is for the players, how tough it is to get up for each game, week in and week out, 18 games. And because it's a team sport, you have to rely on the players beside you. It's tough to get that consistency, but when it's down to the grind, that's when everyone seems to get on the same page. That's the difference between good and average football teams.
Second down and 10, Riders at their 19. Austin again back to pass. And he throws, and it's complete at the 30-yard line. Narcisse with a Saskatchewan first down.
Austin likes to look to his buddy Don Narcisse. Again, a little bit of a play action. Doesn't really hold anybody, but Narcisse does it on his own. Able to get good separation away from Steve Benjamin.
And once again, a very accurate throw into the wind by Kent Austin. Narcisse playing his 5th game with Saskatchewan. 1st and 10 Riders at their 30. Austin back, and he screens to Elgar, and he has room. All the way to the Edmonton 31-yard line.
Elgar's moving across the formation left to right. He will fake like he's going to block and then release to the outside. But this play doesn't go anywhere unless number 62 right there. Vic Stevenson gets a hand on Don Wilson. Elgar cuts back inside, and the big man shows some speed. Another good block downfield. The guys are hustling.
The block downfield thrown by Narcisse. Riders 1st and 10 at the 32 of Edmonton. Flags all over the place as Walter Bender runs for 4 yards. Out of bounds at the Eskimo 28-yard line.
John Mandrich a little bit jumpy right there. I think they'll call him for offside for the Eskimos.
Ken Lazarus.
Offside, Edmonton number 75.
You picked it, Neil. John Mandrich was offside.
Get him going.
Saskatchewan will take the penalty and have 1st and 5 at the Edmonton 27-yard line. 26-year-old John Mandrich in his 4th year, a Thunder Bay native. 24,282 at Taylor Field this afternoon. And they have watched the Roughriders play one of their more complete games of the season to this point. Saskatchewan leading Edmonton 24-15 and 1st and 5 at the Eskimo 27. Austin fakes and then puts it up long. No good at the goal line. Intended for Tony Dennis.
That ball's thrown right down the seam. You know, a yard either way, that ball gets picked off. So, you know, I'm impressed by the way Austin's throwing the ball. You said earlier he's got a kind of a looping type of motion when he throws the football. I look at it as being very casual. He doesn't seem to try to strong arm it down the field, but he's been tremendously accurate both with and against the wind.
2nd and 5. Riders, Edmonton 27-yard line. Austin has a man wide open at the 20. Ellingson, the receiver. He's knocked out of bounds at the 19-yard line, but that is a Rough Rider 1st down.
Ellingson makes the adjustment. Ron Howard, the halfback to this side. You'll see him. There he is, 28. Blitzes. He has to turn his cutoff early so the quarterback can read it. Ellingson makes the catch, and we should really congratulate James Ellingson and his wife, Kathy. They had their first baby born on Wednesday, Alex Ann Marie.
Ellingson, a 2nd-round draft pick of the Riders last year. 1st and 10. Here's a handoff to Bender. Look at the room. Bender all the way to the Edmonton 5-yard line.
Hey, Bob, there's nothing like the feeling in a huddle when you get the momentum. You don't think anyone can stop you. You watch Walter Bender slash up here. Good block on Stuart Hill by Roger Aldag, but he's hit twice. He keeps going. He wants to get over the goal line. That's the difference in this football team. Thinking you can do it and knowing you can do it, and now they know they can do it.
And we have to give Kent Austin the credit. He hands off to Bender. Walter Bender looking for the goal line, and he got there.
Kent Austin started them on their own 19 and took them with a great deal of control down the field. Again, it's capped off by a tremendous run. A very gutsy effort by Walter Bender. Junior Robinson trying to strip the football from him. He spins away, goes in backwards. Look at the surge. They'll push him into the end zone.
Dave Ridgway adds the convert, and the Rough Riders have moved ahead by 16. We are early in the 4th quarter. And even more intrigue added to that game on CFN next Sunday, BC at Calgary, if Saskatchewan can hold on here and beat Edmonton today. Ronnie Howard with the kickoff to the 46 or 47 of Edmonton, and flags on the play. Walter Bender's touchdown, his 3rd of the game.
Holding, 83 Edmonton.
Chris Johnstone called for holding on that kick return.
How it feels? That was for you, too. That's number 3, baby. Hello, Grover. Frank, all the boys.
Lots to say. Walter Bender's going to fall Roger Aldag in. And there's the architect. This time he's just watching to make sure he gets in. Not the signal.
You know, we'll have to ask Bender after the game why he's scoring all these touchdowns on behalf of Howard Field. I'm very curious. As Damon Allen drops back and screens to Milson Jones, he has some blockers set up and has a good gain out to the Edmonton 48, 49-yard line. Gain of 15 or 16 yards.
Well, Damon Allen realizing that the momentum that the Riders have built up will carry over to defense. They'll come and they'll come hard. Good call on first down, running a quick screen to Milson Jones. Leo Blanchard out in front of him. Gets some good yardage on the first down play. Gets them another first down, but they got to try to temper the defense, get them back on their heels.
Well, Saskatchewan came up with 2 touchdowns in a span of just over 4 minutes after Edmonton had cut Saskatchewan's lead to 17-15. And again, we have to talk about Ken Austin and the role he played. Right now, though, we'll talk about Chris Skinner running the football on first down and gaining 11 yards and giving Edmonton another first down.
Joe Ferragelli said at the start of the year, watch number 79 right there. Takes a step forward and comes around. Ferragelli said, when against a team that stunts a lot, you can run the football and hit a seam, you get yourself some first down. That was perfect.
Take it up on the plate.
Injured Roughrider as the Eskimos were just set to come out of their huddle. Billy Jackson was hurt on that last play, limping off. He's just back from a knee injury. Kent Austin, a star is born. I tell you, they'll be talking about this guy up and down the avenues in Saskatchewan tomorrow, assuming they win the game. Even if they don't, they'll be talking about it.
And they should be, but it's a long way from being over.
Is it ever? First and 10, Eskimos. Saskatchewan 50. Damon Allen throws, and it's dropped down at the 30-yard line by Tom Richards.
Well, Richards is a very sure-handed receiver. He's made a lot of great catches, but he's caught looking over his shoulder. He's ready to make a move right there on the defensive back that's going to come up. He's just a little bit too far ahead of himself. But when you're behind, you think like that because you want to make the big play. You want to make the difference.
Had to take his eye off the ball. There's no way he could do that if he was watching the football. Second and 10, Eskimos, Saskatchewan 50. And Allen gets it off, but he was hit as he threw. Completes it nonetheless to Brian Kelly, who gets to the Riders 38 and gives the Eskimos a first down.
Brian Kelly, always aware of what his team needs for a first down. He'll run this pattern. They're going to the other way. Little slap move and gets himself right by the mark, then steps out of bounds just when he gets the first down and stops the clock.
There's a guy who knows exactly what he's doing. Brian Kelly. 9 minutes, 10 seconds left, fourth quarter. Saskatchewan leading, 31-15. Edmonton first and 10, Riders 38. Allen being pursued, gets the ball away, and it's intercepted. Magruder comes up with a football. Sixth interception of the day for the Roughriders.
5-6-9-2-3-5.
Mike Magruder.
Bring your program down.
Mike Magruder with his first interception of the game, but Saskatchewan sixth. The Riders have now set a new club record, 37 interceptions in a season.
Might have been a different pass if Damon Allen had been able to set himself and throw the football because Stefan Jones was open, but Magruder's third interception in 2 games.
Riders first and 10 of their 17. Cochran carrying. Runs into the arms of John Mandarich. He may have gained a yard. 8 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Saskatchewan Roughriders, who had their lead trimmed to 2 points late in the third quarter, got Walter Bender's second and third touchdowns of the game, and they lead Edmonton 31-15. Riders have won 2 of their last 3, fighting to keep their very slim playoff hopes alive. Austin throws wide open. Dennis at the 25. He'll be 2 yards short of a Rough Rider first down.
Danny Bass drops back into coverage in this specific defense. Keep everything underneath him. He'll be watching the receivers, knows what's going on around him, and really stops his backpedaling quickly and gets up and stops him short of a first down. A good play by Bass. I don't know if there's a man on that team that took last year's defeat in the Grey Cup any harder than Danny Bass. He wants to be the leader, and he is the leader on this football team, and take him back there this year in Vancouver.
Traded from Calgary to Edmonton for Tom Scott in 1984. Danny Bass. And Terry Baker just gets this kick away into the wind, and it's a good one. Richards flips it back to Henry Williams. And the Gizmo's on the move, but he slips and falls at the Saskatchewan 41 or 42-yard line. Nonetheless, the Eskimos have excellent field position.
I can't get over just what Henry Williams can do once he gets the football, and they'll get it to him, according to Doug Sams, who coaches the special teams, any way they possibly can. So he just finds his way. Good job of hustle by Larry Ruck downfield, making blocks. They work a lot harder with him returning punts than they do with most people.
You see the effect the wind has had on the work of Terry Baker in Saskatchewan this afternoon. Rather dramatic. Baker has done a good job, though, kicking into the wind. Penalty flag as Allen runs. It'll be holding against the Eskimos in all likelihood.
Edmonton 34.
Milson Jones nabbed for holding.
Against the Eskimos.
Damon Allen trying to sprint to the outside, give himself some room, take some of the pressure off of him. And Milson Jones, as you see him talking to Bobby Jurison, the man he held, says, I had to hold you. You're too good.
Either that or he's saying, now, Bobby, you know that I didn't hold you on that play. Joe Pirigelli looks on from the Edmonton bench. 7:20 left, fourth quarter. Saskatchewan leading the Eskimos 31-15. Edmonton with a big win behind them. And first down over and 20 yards to go from the Rider 52. Allen will take off. And we'll get to the 41, a gain of 11. He'll leave the Eskimos with a 2nd and 9.
Quarterback now.
Encouragement from the sideline saying we need to get as many plays as we can. There's only 6 minutes and 42 seconds left. Good job by the offensive line taking that front four and just pushing them by the quarterback. Good coverage downfield, so Damon Allen had to tuck it and take it on his own.
2nd down, we'll call it 10. Eskimos at the Rough Rider 41 and a half. Allen, no good. Intended for House down at the Rider 20. But it hit the turf about 5 yards short of Rick House. 6 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Joe Fuller retreats to field Jerry Cowrick's field goal attempt with Matt Dunnigan holding. This will come from the Rough Rider 49-yard line. With the wind, Cowrick should be able to get it there. And he does. And he puts it through the uprights. 6:01 left in the fourth quarter. It's now 31-18 for the Rough Riders. Kent Austin and the Saskatchewan Rough Riders have come up with some very impressive offensive drives when they've needed them most. Neil with 6 minutes to go and up now by 13, and with the wind favoring Edmonton, now would be a good time for a Rider drive.
They need the most every time they get the football.
Good time for a Rider drive if you're a Rider or a Rider fan. Qualify that. Walter Bender carrying, and he will have a gain of 5 or 6 yards up the middle.
Let's look at Jerry Cowrick, who's finished kicking a 49-yard field goal. Try to have his tee stand out a little bit more. He painted it white, and then on the top of it, as you can see, is just a little bit of a target. Green surrounding the gold. The artist of that picture is Dwayne Mandrusiak, the equipment manager. They say they've already got the pattern they picked out for the Grey Cup.
2nd and 5 Riders. That's positive thinking at their 40-yard line. Austin throws, and he completes it. At the 48-yard line, Narcisse with the catch. Gain of 8 yards and a Saskatchewan first down.
Well, I am surprised that we're not seeing the corners push up a little bit on the wide receiver. Steve Benjamin back in the lineup after recovering from chickenpox, giving a little bit too much room or respect to Don Narcisse. Gets him another first down.
5 catches for Narcisse for 50 yards on the day. First and 10, Riders at their 48, 4:55 left in the fourth quarter. Austin hands off to Cochran, and he has room. 15-yard run by Terry Cochran.
Well, the best way to control the football is don't turn it over, and a good play right here. Brian Illebroom pulls out Cochran, hits up, and then bounces it to the outside. Shows nice quickness, gets around the end, blocking downfield, everyone getting in the way of somebody.
You know, this is like a different Saskatchewan team, these last 2 games from the one we watched most of the season, with the offensive production they've shown in the last 2 games. That has been so sadly lacking all year. Austin wants it all, and he has a completion down to the 15-yard line to Narcisse.
Releases this ball, you'd swear he was going to overthrow him, but it seems to be, it was held up just enough in the wind. Drops right on the arms, nicely thrown over. Steve Benjamin, coverage is pretty good, but the ball thrown to the outside where it couldn't be intercepted. It could only be caught, and caught it was.
I'll tell you what, Austin has made half a dozen throws, Neil, that are to be admired unto themselves, just the way he's put the football, given the wind, into certain spots.
John Gregory compared him, at least his throwing style, very much to one of the offensive coaches of the Riders. John Hufnagel has good zip in the ball, places the ball well, might not have a real gun like a Dieter Brock, but can throw the ball downfield. The Eskimos are talking, Danny Bass, Larry Ruck, they need a turnover, and they need it right here.
4:10 left.
Football, make that quick jump after the quarterback throws. I don't know if his teammates will let him live down being run down by a big old offensive lineman or not, but at least they'll be able to have fun talking about it in films tomorrow.
Suter and Skipper each have 2 interceptions.
How you doing, Candy?
The Riders have a total of 7. James Curry helped out the field. Saskatchewan has broken the club record for interceptions in a season. They now have 38. And it's been a long time since the Rider fans have had a home win to celebrate over the Edmonton Eskimos. 1979. The last time the Riders beat the Eskimos at Taylor Field. Terry Cochran has a gain of 5 or 6 through the middle. 38 seconds left on the clock. Riders ahead by 9. I think we can assume that they will win this game.
I'm surprised the success the Riders have had running the football today on the Eskimo defense. They're very stingy usually against the run. Just the Rider offensive line and coach has found the secret. And drops right on the arms, nicely thrown over. Steve Benjamin, coverage is pretty good, but the ball thrown to the outside where it couldn't be intercepted. It could only be caught, and caught it was.
I'll tell you what, Austin has made half a dozen throws, Neil, that are to be admired unto themselves, just the way he's put the football, given the wind, into certain spots.
John Gregory compared him, at least his throwing style, very much to one of the offensive coaches of the Riders. John Hufnagel has good zip in the ball, places the ball well, might not have a real gun like a Dieter Brock, but can throw the ball downfield. The Eskimos are talking, Danny Bass, Larry Ruck, they need a turnover, and they need it right here.
4:10 left, fourth quarter. Riders leading by 13, and at the Edmonton 15 with a 1st and 10. Toss to Walter Bender, and he gets away from a couple and gets down to the 12-yard line. He turns that into a 3-yard gain. It looks like he might lose a couple. Following today's game, we'll be selecting the Canada Lease Most Valuable Player. Canada Lease, a public company providing leadership in the world of high technology and capital equipment leasing. Canada Lease makes your money work better for you. Kent Austin brings the Riders out. 2nd down, and we'll say 7.5. The ball at the Edmonton 12.5. Handoff inside, and slipping as he crossed the 10 was Terry Cochran. He gets down to the 8-yard line. He would have had the first down easily had he not fallen. But as it is, he comes up 2 or 3 yards short, and John Gregory doesn't hesitate. He sends out his field goal unit.
Well, that smile right there tells you the Saskatchewan Roughriders, led by Ken Austin, are having some fun today.
And they have risen at Taylor Field with a semi-standing O for Austin, and the offense is Ridgway hits a 15-yard field goal attempt through the uprights. And with 3 minutes and 13 seconds left in the fourth quarter, the Riders are back on top by 16 points.
I think back to what Larry Kuharich told us about 4 or 5 weeks ago when he was talking about his Calgary Stampeders, that he wanted to put the fun back in the game, and he's done that in Calgary. They're a team that people have to keep a very close eye on, but that same feeling I see right here in this man's face, Ken Austin, they're just enjoying the heck out of this afternoon. They're putting a pretty good beating on a very good football team.
Eskimos beaten 38-20 in Winnipeg last weekend, and looking down the barrel of a loaded gun here with 3:13 left and trailing by 16 points.
Talking to Bill Baker before the game, he was going on a hunting trip the next day or so. It's time as the ducks and the geese are flying a little lower. He said he wanted to go off with a smile. Well, I think this will put a smile on his face.
Now, who's he going hunting with? You're a name dropper. Go ahead, tell us.
Tom Weisskopf.
I've heard of him.
He does a pretty good job on the tour and has for the past 10 years.
Here's the gizmo on the kick return. And he brings it all the way back to the Saskatchewan 37-yard line. There's a flag on the play as well, which may move it even further into Saskatchewan territory. So this one isn't over by any stretch of the imagination. 3:07 left in the fourth quarter. Quarter, Taylor Field and Regina. Eskimos have the ball at the Saskatchewan 21-yard line after a kickoff return by the gizmo and a face masking penalty against the Riders. Damon Allen can't find anybody, but that's okay. He'll just run up the middle down to the Roughrider 7 or 8 yard line.
Aren't too many Rider fans that have left Taylor Field this afternoon.
2:52 left on the clock in the fourth quarter. Eskimos first and goal now, going without a huddle at the Saskatchewan 7. Allen, and he'll score. Damon Allen gets into the end zone with 2:38 left in the fourth quarter. Eskimos will attempt a 2-point convert to cut the deficit to 8.
Good coverage downfield, but the key here is that middle opens up. See Bill Stevenson push down Lewis. Pushing him down in that block by Marco Sinkar right there on Albright allows Damon Allen to go towards the goal line and get in.
Damon Allen takes it into the end zone, and he'll now attempt to add a 2-point conversion, which would make it 34-26 Saskatchewan. Allen to Skinner, but he won't get in. Skinner caught the ball at the 1-yard line, but he couldn't get any further with it. So it's 34-24 for Saskatchewan.
It might end up being a very big play. The Rider defense gives him the catch underneath. It's just a simple wait and see for Damon Allen on that play. Skinner blocks and then releases through the middle. You see Albright right in the middle. He's going to move quickly on Skinner. Skinner had to slow down a little bit for the football, and that allowed the Rider defense to swarm, and swarm they did.
When you can tackle a guy like Skinner one-on-one, you've done a job, as Albright did that time.
You can see they wanted that. That was an important 2 points right there, or potentially could be.
Damon Allen has done a good job in this second half. Saskatchewan led 11-1 at halftime. Matt Dunnigan threw 5 interceptions in the first half. But Allen has brought the Edmonton offense to life a little bit in the second. It's now 34-24, Saskatchewan. 2:38 left, and the wind blows the ball off the tee. You can see how strong it is. Cowrick will have to get Don Wilson to hold it for him. Saskatchewan, if they can hold on and win, it'll be their second win in a row. They haven't won 2 straight since August of 1985. Cowrick's kickoff. And Narcisse lets it bounce. Will it go into the end zone? Yes, it does. And Fuller will pick it up, run around, waste as much time as he can, and give up a single point. That only took 4 seconds off the clock. It's down to 2:34. Riders were anticipating a short kickoff there, Neil, and got caught with their return men upfield.
Well, I think what they wanted to do was have the ball settle, not go over the goal line, force the Riders, bring their offense out deep in their end, stop them, and then make them punt into the wind. But that kick went into the end zone. Good play by Fuller to take it back through. Now they've got the ball on their own 35.
34-25. Rough Riders with a 9-point lead. First and 10 of their 35. Can Kent Austin put yet another drive together? He hands off to Walter Bender. And Bender will gain 3 yards. Brought down by Danny Bass.
The Eskimo defense pinching, expecting the run. Walter Bender has to have the ability to find some open space, get to the outside, and if he goes too wide, for all counts, stay in bounds.
Second down and 7. Rough Riders at their 38. Saskatchewan hasn't beaten Edmonton here at Taylor Field since 1979. The pass to Narcisse, and he can't catch it at the 45-yard line. Narcisse has caught 6 today. None of them as significant as that one would have been. Well, he'd been able to hang on.
I'm sorry, Bob. He'd like this one back. Benjamin in the coverage. Good job. Benjamin slips right there in the coverage. He wants to come up to make the hit on Narcisse. Narcisse does a nice job coming back to the football, but those soft, bare hands turned into boards right there.
Good throw again by Austin. Henry Williams back to return the punt by Terry Baker. 3rd and 7 at the Riders 38. Baker kicking into the wind, and he just gets it away. It'll bounce at center field. The Riders will have to get out of there or be called for no yards. It's grabbed on the run at the Saskatchewan 50-yard line by Junior Robinson. No penalty flag, so with 1:58 left, Edmonton gets the ball back, trailing by 9 points.
I don't know. I just look at this situation and think John Gregory must be chewing the ends off his fingers. He's been in this same type of situation before. Earlier on with Calgary this year, came out at the short end of the stick. And this Eskimo offense, I'd be holding my breath.
The fans are into it, as you can no doubt hear. Damon Allen dumps it off to Milson Jones. And he gets to the Rider 40. Very close to an Eskimo first down.
Eskimos will hustle back, get over the ball. The play will be called at the line of scrimmage.
Well, you couldn't say the head coaches aren't directing traffic in these last 2 minutes. Both Gregory and Faragelli shouting instructions.
It'd be tough to know which coach is ahead just by looking at the pictures.
Yes, it would. Second down and a half a yard. Eskimos. The pass, no good. Intended for Skinner. So 3rd down will come up for Edmonton. And about a half a yard to go with 1:45 left in the 4th quarter.
Well, the one thing that does accomplish, it stops the clock. The short yardage offense will come in. Dan Kearns, John Mandrich, Stuart Hill, and Chris Johnstone will be in the backfield. They'll get a first down. That will stop the clock again, so we're still in pretty good shape.
3rd and a half a yard. Eskimos at the Saskatchewan 40. Damon Allen keeps. He actually slipped as he tried to drive off the right side, but I think he got the first down comfortably.
First down.
Into the Riders' 39-yard line.
We've seen a lot of players go down today just by planting, be it a quarterback sneak or making a cut as Benjamin did to try to come up on the football. That hard turf, it makes it tough. Even with good footwear, it's a hard surface.
1:40 left and the clock is running. Eskimos 1st and 10, Riders 39, Saskatchewan leading 34-25. Damon Allen has to take off, and look at him run. He gets to the 28 of the Rough Riders. That'll be an Edmonton first down, and that was all manufactured by Damon Allen.
Not having a chance to put the ball downfield, and the one thing he doesn't want to do is take a chance. Good coverage in the defensive secondary.
First and 10 Eskimos. Saskatchewan 28. The clock running. It's down to 1:20. Allen won't get it away this time.
Allen has slipped away up that middle many times this afternoon in the second half. This time a good job of protection by the offensive line, but again the secondary. Good job of coverage. Who else? Bobby Jurison and Lynn Matson fold down and take him to the turf.
Second down Eskimos. 13 yards to go at the Saskatchewan 31. Allen to Milson Jones. He's down to the 23 of the Roughriders. 5 yards short of a first down. There is a penalty flag, and there is exactly 1 minute left in the fourth quarter.
Legal procedure. Edmonton, number 31.
Rick House moved prematurely. And Saskatchewan is going to accept the penalty.
Come on now!
Well, as an offense, you're going to do everything you possibly can to create a successful play. Scratch, hold, pull the guy down, and hope you don't get caught. Because ultimately, what you're trying to do is get it in the end zone and get it in fast. It really becomes a fight one-on-one in many situations like this.
If the Riders decline that penalty, they leave Edmonton with about a 3rd and 4 or 5. As it is now, it's second down and 18 Eskimos. Saskatchewan's thinking, let's give them as much real estate as possible to have to get. Here's a long throw in the end zone. It's no good. And Tom Richards actually did a job of making sure it wasn't intercepted.
Bobby Jurison very close to putting Allen on his...
Skinner. So third down will come up for Edmonton. And about a half a yard to go with 1:45 left in the fourth quarter.
Well, the one thing that does accomplish, it stops the clock. The short yardage offense will come in. Dan Kearns, John Mandrich, Stuart Hill, and Chris Johnstone will be in the backfield. They'll get a first down. That will stop the clock again, so we're still in pretty good shape.
3rd and a half a yard. Eskimos at the Saskatchewan 40. Damon Allen keeps. He actually slipped as he tried to drive off the right side, but I think he got the first down comfortably.
First down.
Into the Riders' 39-yard line.
We've seen a lot of players go down today just by planting, be it a quarterback sneak or making a cut as Benjamin did to try to come up on the football. That hard turf, it makes it tough. Even with good footwear, the hard surface.
1:40 left and the clock is running. Eskimos first and 10, Riders 39, Saskatchewan leading 34-25. Damon Allen has to take off, and look at him run. He gets to the 28 of the Roughriders. That'll be an Edmonton first down, and that was all manufactured by Damon Allen.
Not having a chance to put the ball downfield, and the one thing he doesn't want to do is take a chance. Good coverage in the defensive secondary.
First and 10 Eskimos. Saskatchewan 28. The clock running. It's down to 1:20. Allen won't get it away this time.
Allen has slipped away up that middle many times this afternoon in the second half. This time a good job of protection by the offensive line, but again the secondary. Good job of coverage. Who else? Bobby Jurison and Lynn Matson fold down and take him to the turf.
Second down Eskimos, 13 yards to go at the Saskatchewan 31. Allen to Milson Jones. He's down to the 23 of the Roughriders. 5 yards short of a first down. There is a penalty flag, and there is exactly 1 minute left in the fourth quarter.
Legal procedure. Edmonton, number 31.
Rick House moved prematurely. And Saskatchewan is going to accept the penalty.
Come on now!
Well, as an offense, you're going to do everything you possibly can to create a successful play. Scratch, hold, pull the guy down, and hope you don't get caught. Because ultimately, what you're trying to do is get it in the end zone and get it in fast. It really becomes a fight one-on-one in many situations like this.
If the Riders decline that penalty, they leave Edmonton with about a 3rd and 4 or 5. As it is now, it's 2nd down and 18 Eskimos. Saskatchewan's thinking, let's give them as much real estate as possible to have to get. Here's a long throw in the end zone. It's no good. And Tom Richards actually did a job of making sure it wasn't intercepted.
Bobby Jerrison very close to putting Allen on his back before he can release the ball. Marco Sinkar coming in, bringing a play in probably. Crucial down.
All right, Neil, 52 seconds left. 3rd down and 18. Eskimos at the Riders 36. Saskatchewan up by 9 points. 34-25. Allen fires, intercepted by Skipper. And Leo Blanchard runs him down. That's the 7th interception. Elevate the Rider record to 5-9-1 as Edmonton has called a timeout to stop the clock. You know, this is a time of year when after this game, Saskatchewan will do some looking back, Neil. Remember that season opener they lost to Calgary on the last play touchdown? You did that game with Dave Hodge. They lost a 3-point game to Hamilton. They lost a game to Winnipeg here by 4 points that they were ahead of and lost in the last 90 seconds. You can always look back and see where things could be so much better for you.
Well, you look at a young football team or a team like the Edmonton Eskimos who have some experience. You go through a growth pattern during the season. The ups and downs hurt you. They've hurt Saskatchewan this year. They've got to be pleased by the way they've rallied around the last 4 games.
Kent Austin on 3rd down and, well, maybe a foot carries the ball himself. There are flags on the play. 15 seconds left on the clock.
Legal procedure, Saskatchewan.
Penalty against the Roughriders, and they got the 1st down, so the Edmonton Eskimos will take the penalty. No, they're going to measure for the 1st down, so it's not clear cut that they got it, although it appears that they have. They'll measure to make sure, and then Edmonton will decide whether or not to take the penalty.
You know, it's a tough situation for coach. A group of such talented individuals go sour for a couple of games, or at least the last half of last game against Winnipeg, and then come into here at Taylor Field and be dominated by a team that hasn't had a lot of success this year. I think maybe the most important thing they're going to have to build on is the emotion, what it's going to take to get them to where they were last year in that Grey Cup.
You know, it's happened to other teams in the CFL too, Neil. BC lost 3 in a row before last night. Hamilton has lost 6 games in a row. Terry Cochran having late season problems. Terry Cochran carries on 3rd down and 6 for the Roughriders. He won't make the 1st down, but with 9 seconds left, turning the ball over to the Edmonton Eskimos is not a major problem for Saskatchewan as they lead by 9 points.
Along with John Gregory, some 25,000 people here at Taylor Field applaud their offense as they come off the field for the last time this afternoon. They've done a good job. Actually, I'd say they've done a great job against a tough defense.
Damon Allen is going to... And it blows over everybody's head down to the 5-yard line. They were all standing waiting about the 15 or slowed down at the 15. And the wind just carried it into the end zone. 1 second left on the clock. what a satisfying day for John Gregory.
Well, so many times this year he's done.
This will be the final play of the game, barring a penalty, as Milson Jones takes a little something and beats for the first time in 8 years.
Why do you invest with Charles Schwab?
Eskimos missed a chance to move into sole possession of first place in the West, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders kept their remote playoff hopes alive. They have 3 games left. Our next game on the Canadian Football Network will be next Sunday, BC at Calgary at 4 Eastern Time. Final score at Taylor Field, 34-25, Saskatchewan over Edmonton. Bob Irving for Neil Lumsden saying goodbye from Taylor Field.